Next is Tyler Milligan from Milligan Partners out of Dallas, and he's going to be talking to us today about The Doctor Is In. Please welcome Tyler to the stage.
Hold your horses now. We'll get around to that. So some of y'all may look under your seats. You may actually have some Twinkies hiding underneath there already, actually. So my name is Tyler Milligan, and I today am going to act as Lucy did once upon a time. I am by no means a doctor, but I at least want to talk a little bit about a problem and a potential solution. So back, if you guys probably recognize this individual, Scarface, Alphonse Capone. At age 21, he joined the mob, believe it or not. He was a heavy participant with racketeering, and in 1920, when Prohibition was passed, him and his partners realized that bootlegging would be a fantastic opportunity. And by 27, he had taken over his partner's business, running possibly up to $100 million annually in revenue. But he made a mistake. He put out a hit on a couple fellows, but didn't realize that with those couple of fellows, there was a third individual. He was a local prosecutor named William McSwiggan. And when he got knocked off, that frustrated the locals beyond what they were willing to accept with what Al had put up so far. So up through that time, and following through the late 20s, Al Capone then was chased by the FBI, the local government, and even President Hoover, and was finally caught in 31, if you guys have seen the movie. He was caught in 31 for income tax evasion. Thankfully, in 1927, the Supreme Court had actually passed a law willing to tax illegal income, and he was taken down with a very creative solution. Unfortunately, though, in 1929, as some of you guys know, on Black Tuesday, the stock market crashed, sent the United States into the Great Depression. They had significant problems following up with the issues, as you can see here. You had folks waiting for free coffee and donuts. Now, by 1930, thankfully, the Twinkie was invented. It was called the Golden Sponge Cake with Creamy Filling, created by the Continental Banking Company. Does anyone know what the original flavor of the cream inside was? Banana, yes, sir. So, in World War II, rationing occurred for bananas, so they changed over to vanilla cream, and it stuck with vanilla cream. So, by the way, I have some more here. If anybody doesn't get one underneath their chair, I'd be happy to. It's my last box, so feel free. Now, believe it or not, in 1984, I think 1 year after the flat file was created, Ghostbusters came out and had a reference to the Twinkie. And up until that point, the Twinkie had been simply a U.S. confection. And this took it around the world, made it a worldwide sensation. Now, I found this, oddly enough. I didn't realize that they actually had lime-flavored Twinkies. It's disgusting. But I thought I'd show you guys. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what the heck does the Twinkie have to do with us today? Well, believe it or not, the Twinkie in, I believe, 2011 stopped being sold because it hadn't kept up with the times. Now, thankfully, a Canadian company actually picked it up and has provided the fact that I can go to Target and buy these Twinkies today. So again, a really good thing going, but it didn't keep up with the times. So I want to talk to you today about a problem. And like I said, what does Al Capone and a Twinkie have to do with all of us in this room here at IBTTA? Well, I'll get to that in a minute. But our problem that I want to talk about today are cars, roads, and money, or the fact that we have too many cars and not enough roads and money. So as you can see here, good old California, nice little pothole in the road. I'm not necessarily sure what caused this. Who knows? But it just indicates that we have a significant challenge ahead of us. Now I want to talk about the gas tax a little bit. So actually 2 years after the Twinkie was created, the U.S. passed the Revenue Act, which set forth the gas tax. And then the National Industrial Recovery Act extended the gas tax. In 1951, it got bumped up 2 cents. 1956, it went from a general fund to a trust fund. And for 80 years, it has been a pretty good deal. Like the Twinkie, it hung in there for a little while, but it's starting to struggle. So as you can see, we're in a bit of a challenge right now with maintaining our current infrastructure and providing for this need that we all participate in as an industry. Here's another example, just a little subtle example. The problem's there, but it's underneath our tires. Now, as you can see here, and as you guys probably know, you guys are a little more educated than the average Joe. This is why it's worked so well, because you pull up, you fill up your tank, and you don't even have to think about it. You drive away, and the gas tax has been dealt with behind the scenes successfully for 80 years. Now, I performed a little bit of a survey. Some of you guys may have participated in it. I had 2,500 views of this survey. I think 212 people started the survey, and 130 people completed the survey. And here's a few of my results. So I had 41 different industries represented within my survey. 38% of them were related to transportation. So generally, my survey had some folks that should know what the heck is going on. 75% of these people were bachelor's or above, or had a bachelor's degree above. And 50% of these folks are 46 years and older. And 77% of the respondents gave me a zip code. I got 14 different states and 1 Canadian province. Now, what's interesting is 34% guessed correctly when the U.S. last raised the gas tax. Who knows what year was that? There you go. So 32% didn't know. They straight up said, I didn't know, and the rest of them got it wrong. Now, 40% said they didn't know when their local state had actually raised the gas tax. So you've got a significant, like the slide before, you've got people that are unaware of where this funding occurs. Now, I want to talk about a possible treatment. I don't necessarily have the right answer, just like Lucy. You know, she just does her best. But I want to suggest to you the conversation that I think we should own as an industry. Even though I make my living on toll roads, I think we all have a part to play. Even though I was talking to David Cotto with VDOT. These guys, DOTs specifically, and all of us involved have a responsibility that we've got a funding challenge ahead of us. So I want to touch a little bit on that. And I know that I'm not getting into the tech, but I want to propose that this is an anti-tech talk, because I see how sometimes there's opportunities where technology can be an inhibitor and not necessarily an enabler. Now for Uber, I love Uber. That's been an amazing enabler for me, and I use it as much as possible. But now you look at my grandfather, who I gave an iPad to, and I think he used it 3 times to look at pictures of his grandkids and maybe check the weather. So as you can see, even sometimes technology can provide amazing information, open up the world to us like we've never known, but in certain circumstances, it's not effective. And even our grandfather, Matt sitting in the back, our grandfather wouldn't go past one stoplight if he had to. He lived out in the country, and if he had to go through a stoplight, he wasn't going any farther. So what's interesting about taxes specifically is that it's been found by some researchers that's a morally charged topic. So we don't want to talk about it. Politicians don't want to talk about it. Sometimes some individuals see it as a way to differentiate between the haves and have-nots. Now I want to quote you something that came from the California Road User Charging Pilot Summary. And I think some of the folks in this room may have actually worked on it. It says, manual options provided the highest degree of privacy and data security, but will in all likelihood be the most difficult to enforce. In some cases, such as the odometer reading, can be costly to administer. Of the automated method, the plug-in devices are the most reliable options. However, as new tech emerges, this methodology could be obsolete. So there's a possibility that even the best solutions that we have today that are technological and could possibly solve our solutions today may be obsolete tomorrow. But then if you think about the fact that if we have some in-vehicle telematics, it may be so difficult because then we potentially have 2 solutions ongoing while the new vehicles get telematics, but the old solutions, such as my grandfather who drove his pickup truck for years, never wanted to participate in anything that was new. So I showed the toll road. Like we think about our own circumstances where we have a nice little, we can put barriers up. We can put gantries and barriers and barrier plazas to control our customers to make sure that they cooperate. But that's not necessarily effective. Here I also show the in-vehicle device. I think a lot of people are starting to utilize this I've seen a lot of different options from T-Mobile to insurance companies. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I want to put that in my car, because if I don't want to participate, then that makes it challenging to the person who wants to utilize this device to track the data around my vehicle so I can have per mile usage. Even the phone, think about the phone and how some of the solutions being provided for us today to consider an alternative tolling. Maybe it's considered also an alternative for gas tax collection. But I'm not sure that's necessarily the solution. What I really want to suggest to you is that it's all of us that we need to consider as we work through these problems with our clients and as a taxpayer, thinking about what you would participate and how you would participate in the industry, that the solutions that are at hand cannot be technologically complex. We're going to hear from Trey here in a little bit about complexity and how sometimes it can be an inhibitor as well. So I want to suggest to you, at least today, from an anti-tax perspective, that sometimes the solutions are not always the most complex. Thank you so much.